Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 10 of the Aqua experience. It's crazy. It's taken ages to get to 10 because it's been a pretty relaxed, chilled sort of approach to a series. It hasn't been stressful for me to make. It's been the opposite. It's been a whole bunch of fun and just slowly talking to people in the industry, talking to other YouTubers, and just hitting a point where we're like, hang on, this is a good conversation. We need to make something more of this. Let's have a catch up and share it with you guys. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped that we've reached 10 episodes, and we've got one for next week with Otter Creek Aquatics, who's in the chat. So hey, Kendall. So plenty more to come. Quick hello to everybody. Griffin Fish Room. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me do the technical thing where I go quiet for a second trying to get my bearings and bring it up on YouTube because it's a little bit easier for me to see what's going on in the YouTube. And you'll hear a reverb in a second, so that's always entertaining. There we go. Right on cue. So Griffin Fish Room, welcome. Hello. How you doing? GRB Aquatics, 30-minute reminder received on time. Thanks, YouTube. I noticed that actually. What did I do? I did the video during the week and everyone said to me, I didn't get any notification that this video came out. So if you missed an episode on this tank behind us, there is an episode that came out a couple of days ago. Chewy, how are you? Hope you're well. The Zen of the Ginger, who has, it's the first time I've seen the next level badge from the members. So that's pretty cool. That worked. What's with all the cats? I don't know. Fish Room Fever, glad you're here because it would be a pretty boring video if you weren't. Otter Creek, as I said, hello. Benny's Aquatics, how are you? Josh Webster. Love these guys. Good work, Josh. I've always thought you're a good dude. Galar's Fish Tanks. Rory, how are you going? Cichlids 23. Represent. Derek, how are you? Nathan Fishboy. Hello, everyone. Just sitting here with Crayola, his new English budgie, which I've seen, who's pretty cute. He's being introduced to the fish hobby. Jill, long time no see. How are you? Hope you're well. Andrew is on the other side of the road. How you doing? We bring him from everywhere. Spoiled Fish, how you doing? Peppy Plant. Oh, God, she's in the room there. See? Told you, we're all over the world. All right. No more time wasting. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It is now my pleasure to introduce the man, the myth behind the fever of the fish room, James. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Josh. Hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm up and about today. I've had my breakfast and my Red Bull. I always like to claim that I go for a walk because I walk to get my Red Bull. So that way,
there you go.
I'm exercising at the same time.
Absolutely. And then you've got the curls. You know, you get the repetition from taking the drinks of the Red Bull. So
yes, I'm watering it down today. I'm doing a bit of a mixture. I feel like it's a very talk show thing to do, to have a glass of water next to you. Whether I drink it or not doesn't matter, because it doesn't seem to matter to anyone else.
Absolutely. Yes, I appreciate you providing the sealed bottles of water as well backstage. That was kind of you.
In the green room.
Yeah.
So for those that haven't seen an episode of the Aquamate experience, the whole thing is about finding the roots of other fish keepers, not necessarily YouTubers every time, but in this case, we have a fellow YouTuber, the man who was doing a stream and gave me a final push to hit the 1K. So again, thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Always indebted. We've been following a very similar YouTube journey, it looks like, from afar. But can we go back to the start? What got you into keeping fish in the first place?
So I have always had a passion for marine life, aquatic life. I grew up in Florida, spent a lot of time on the water. My parents were shrimpers and then owned a marine construction business. So aquatic critters were always just kind of growing up. That evolved into, as I grew into adulthood, just really being drawn to fish. I don't really understand why necessarily, but it's almost like it's just kind of in my blood. It's very calming and completing. So I've had some time out of the hobby and come back into the hobby last year. It's been about a year now. I think it was June of last year that I got back into the hobby. But I took some years off, had the kids, and life happens to us all, as I like to say. But really, having a fun time kind of evolving in the hobby this go around. I've always kind of been a monster tank, monster fish kind of guy. And, now I've got guppies and escaping nano tanks. So that has, it's been fun. It's been fun to evolve and change and find new aspects of the hobby to really grow to love and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. So you've sort of gone a bit full circle, starting with the large fish, and it's funny. One of the things that I find with large fish, I have never really kept anything you would classify as a monster fish, probably because of just room. I don't have enough room to do it. I probably do now, but I've gone down the path of having more nano tanks. And the one thing I sort of miss about that is I can see, even just going to the pet shop and seeing a big Oscar or a giant gourami, just there's a personality to a monster fish that you don't really get with nano fish as much. But what was your first fish, and what was the first tank that you sort of set up and got organized?
That is a wonderful question. I honestly don't remember. I don't want to say I have a memory problem, but there are a lot of things that just kind of elude me in the past, if you will. I can tell you the first tank that I set up this go around back in June. It was a little 20-gallon aquarium, 20 long, and got some dragonstone in there. That wasn't really a big thing when I had been in the hobby before, and kind of did my first aquascape in it. I found that was a neat aspect of the hobby that I hadn't played around in. And then got a bristlenose pleco, which again, 10 years ago, they weren't really all that popular. It was still the common pleco was the huge push. Ended up getting a female bristlenose in there, and of course had babies, or at least eggs, in a couple days. And that really just kind of threw on the full-blown fish room fever.
Yes, because you do have a lot of plecos, and that is the logo. I love your T-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You've got that wrap around the whole thing, not just the standard. Yep. I'm not wearing my T-shirt today, but I reckon it looks cool. I love the logo. So the plecos, sort of, you would say they're still with you today. So obviously, there's been something that from the very beginning you've carried all the way through your hobby.
Yes, absolutely. And even before my previous runs in the hobby, when I was real big on the monster fish, I was always drawn to the full-grown pond size common plecos that everybody would end up, taking into the pet store because they were too big for their tanks. I just really love plecos. If I could only keep one type of fish, that would be it.
Can you clear something up for me then? Because I have had bristlenose plecos. Mm-hmm. And then people talk about common plecos. And to me, a common pleco is a bristlenose pleco because they're very common when I go to a fish store.
Right.
And I've only got one pleco in my fish room, and I absolutely love the guy. And he was surrendered because of the same thing. The size of him, he was too big. And the fish keeper that was keeping him decided to go in a completely different direction with their fish tank. So he had a whole bunch of Africans and this sailfin pleco. I organised for the Africans to go to a local fish store near me who specialise in Africans. And they said, "Oh, do you want any of them?" And I was like, "I want him." So I'm like, I'll grab the sailfin. He's living with my goldfish at the moment. And he's about 10, 11 inches. And I think he's got a fair bit of growing still to do. But I suppose the question is, when you say a common pleco, what is a common pleco, and what's a bristlenose in comparison?
Okay, so what we generally refer to as a common pleco, and hopefully nobody's superstitious, because the superstition is if you say the full name, it's going to jump out of your tank and you'll find it dead the next day. But generally, we're referring to a hypostomus plecostomus. There's
Did you say hippopotamus?
no Hypostomus plecostomus. GRB Aquatics has got it.
There we go.
So that's what we generally refer to as the common pleco. They can get 20 inches, no problem. A little bit bigger sometimes. Usually they don't get there in captivity, but yeah, they can get massive if they've got the tank space. Usually you see them and they've been poorly kept and cramped, and you really don't find them in the hobby bigger than 2 foot. But they can get really, really big if given the room, much bigger than 2 foot even. So
Cichlus23 is saying that Ohio Fish Rescue has a 34-inch common pleco.
Yeah, they can get massive, and most people don't understand that. I was in the local fish store earlier picking up some crickets for the Pac-Man toad, Pac-Man frog, and the lady was like, "Give me 2 of those sucker fish. Actually, the bottom of the tank is dirty," and I just wanted to grab her and say, "For the love of God, no, don't do that." And of course, it's a chain pester. This was not my local fish store. For those of you that follow me and know I'm there often, this was another store. So let me clarify that. But of course, the worker's just like, "Okay, you want 2 of the cleaner fish?" And I'm like, "No, I need my crickets and I need to leave." The bristlenose, although fortunately, at least here, and it sounds like there, is now found more commonly. It is actually an ancestress. They're the Zingender.
Yeah, just reading that then, yes.
Yeah, so, and they usually don't get more than, they don't get, I've not seen one ever more than 7 inches, and that's maxed out. So much more suitable for fish tanks. Of course, none of them are going to keep you from having to clean your tank, but
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I fell in love with the bristlenose. Because like I said, 8-9 years ago, they weren't really in the hobby, at least not around here. Everything was just the Hypostomus plecostomus. And then I thought, hey, there are these really cool plecos, and they've got these funny little things on their face, and they like to breed a lot, and they stay fairly small, and so that was the beginning of the end for me.
No, well, yeah, they're the only ones that I had ever kept. But so a sailfin pleco is not a common pleco. Would that be correct? Even though it gets similar sizes.
I guess they could be referred to as common because really, again, it goes back to when you have names that are given by fish keepers or pet stores that are common names, if you will. It kind of just becomes a part of the terminology based on where you are. So I guess if a sailfin or a highfin were the most common thing in your area or the most common thing kept, in your country or whatnot, that I guess would be considered the common pleco for you. But yeah, the gibiceps, which actually they're in the tank down below now. I forgot that I don't have them anymore. Of course, Dr. Black has gibiceps. They are a different species. And I don't say the first part of the name because it is sort of GRB. Yeah, the starts with a P. So if you want to pronounce it, you're welcome to do so.
So you found them very easy to breed. A few people have said that they can be prolific breeders. I've never had any luck, but I've also never really tried. I mean, I did get. I bought some plants ages ago, and there's a couple little baby plecos in there. I'm like, yeah, throw them into. They were just growing them out in their planted tank, and I lost all 3 of them. While I still had a larger pleco in there, bristlenose, and I don't know. I think maybe there's something that I do or something down here that's not as easy. I think GRB. I mean, GRB's on the other side of Australia, but I think he's had a lot of success breeding them as well. Jill's is saying, as a former pet store employee, you get sick of fighting with all the people that have it set in their head that they're going to get a sucker fish, and it becomes pointless after a while. Yeah, I could imagine it would be a little bit tricky. So after the plecos, what was the next sort of fish that sort of took your eye and took you to the next step in your journey?
Oh, goodness, there are so many fish. I'm trying to think of what it was that I actually went for. Because really, that's kind of when I went into research mode. I had coral tanks back in the previous Go of the Hobby. So that had evolved a lot over the past 8 to 10 years as well. So really, I got into the trying to relearn the hobby, finding out not really what was the trend, but where we were on the information wheel, as I like to call it. We started with undergravel and box, and then we advanced to other filters and sponge filters, and then hang on backs, and then canisters, and then sumps, and then we're kind of going full circle back around. And it seems like we're always evolving in what we're actually supposed to be doing. So I was trying to learn, where does the hobby stand at this point, and what fish would be suitable? Miss Fever might remember, but honestly, there have been so many fish. I've got hundreds and hundreds at this point.
Well, how long ago are we talking? So how many years have you
been? Since I got back into the hobby a year, but I was out of the hobby for about 9 years.
So you're a bit of an on again, off again, or just like multiple times, or just the 2 times that you sort of delved right into it again?
I'm a go big or go home type of person. So I can't just dabble in the hobby. I fall in love with it, and then it's, hey, we need to get another tank. So I think it was about 8 years with having the little ones, and then we moved, and it just, I don't know, the timing was never quite right, and something was missing, but I didn't realize it was the fish tanks.
Yeah,
there we go. It was the prawn, as a matter of fact, because I ended up, this tank right here, which is a double stack, it was in a local pet store. And that was when I was in there, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm willing to help out, do things around here. Anything I can help you with. I just really want to hang out and gain knowledge and kind of relearn it, if you will, because I've forgotten so much. I used to know so many scientific names, and now I'm just kind of like, we'll stick with the common names. And he said, well, you know what? I need this tank out of here. The bottom tank leaked, and there was an issue at the top. He said, you help me haul this to the dumpster. And he's like, actually, you can have it. So I resealed it. And then I ordered the piranha for the top tank, the pre-bay. I ordered 25 little bitty half-inch baby wild-caught piranha, which are the ones that you see a lot of times on my stream when I flip the camera around.
Yes. Lefty with a super sticker. Thank you very much, Lefty. You didn't have to do that, but appreciate it. How many tanks have you got right now?
Right now, I will give you the standard answer. It's 45-ish. It fluctuates by 1 or 2, because one will come down and I'll reseal it and I'll throw another one up. I think I might be closer to 50 than 45 at this point, because I just set one up with Sean Peck of Peck Tech, which he was courteous enough to provide the tank in exchange for me providing the content for that video. So he was like, here, come over, film a setup. You can have the tank, take it home with you, get it out of here, like a grandchild.
You did like a members only post, was it?
I posted a preview of that tank.
Yes, it looks really, really nice.
Yes.
And you're releasing, what is it? Sean's doing a video on Sunday.
He'll release
part 2 on Monday. Is that right?
Yeah. And yes, his video releases at midnight Eastern Standard Time here in the States. So you all actually usually get to see it more on that side of the world in Europe. And then the Americans kind of pick it up in the morning as they're waking up. So very, very smart on how he releases his videos. But I think he said he edited it down to about an hour.
Yeah, I did my video last week with Sam Parker. It's the same sort of thing. He did a video on his channel, and it went for 43 minutes. I was like, well, he got everything.
Yeah.
But it sort of does bring me to another question, and this is one that you and I have had a little chat a couple of weeks ago, and it was very interesting getting your take on this. So you've jumped back in, you've got 45-ish tanks. Why pull a camera out and start talking to people about it and making a YouTube channel? And why Fish Room Fever?
So there are a couple things that go into that. One, I love talking to people. Bob Kaler will tell you I love the sound of my own voice. I've always been in some form of management or things like that, and that plays into the whole training and teaching and showing people things and helping spread knowledge. And I find that anytime I bring up fish tanks, just in conversation, I'd get a lot of questions, or people would say, "Oh, well, I had this bad experience," and generally I could have a rough idea of what was going on and provide some sort of solution, if not a very detailed solution. So I wanted to help, and then it kind of plays into what John at KG Tropicals is doing with the Keeping Fish Keepers fish keeping. There are so many people that they get in the hobby, they get bad knowledge, their fish die, they get out of the hobby, you sell the tank, which is great for people like us that are picking them up off of Craigslist, but overall it's not great for the hobby. So I wanted to help people, and I like the sound of my voice. I like talking to people. So, which is that
sound of my own voice, but I think I like that too, because it is prominent. I'm sure it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You are always going to, like, I sell heating and cooling for a living, and so I have to go into a lot of people's homes to like size things up, make sure they're getting the right sort of, climate control for their house. And the amount of times I will see either a neglected fish tank or like an empty fish tank, out on the deck or in the patio or whatever, that it's just, I don't know, I reckon it's probably, 1 in 5 houses have a fish tank that they've decided to give up on. So I think, your message is good. I haven't seen any of John's series on, what did you call it? Keeping fish keeping?
It's KFKFK, Keeping Fish Keepers, fish keeping. Yeah, but
Yes.
no, the name came from more the business side of my brain. I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right from a business aspect or a marketing standpoint. So it actually probably would have started the channel a month sooner if I had just slapped up, whatever name. But I wanted to find something that was available on every platform that there is, from .com to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and all that, so that it wasn't taken, and I didn't have to be Fish Room Fever on one platform and Fish Room Fever 84397 on another.
Yep.
And then it's just, I said, okay, well, what's some terminology in the hobby that just about everybody recognizes? And of course, we have multi-tank syndrome. And then it was like, well, what would be the next step of that I could turn into a name? And that's where I came up with Fish Room Fever. Well, you get multiple tanks, you end up usually with multiple rooms. You have the fish rooms, and it's got almost like going from a syndrome, typically describing some sort of a sickness or disease, get the fever. So that's where the name came from.
No, that's fair enough. I just want to quickly, we've got a whole bunch more people in the chat all of a sudden. So just quickly want to say hello to, forgive me if I miss anyone, Joe Coffee, Miss Fever is here.
She is, yes.
Where are we? Moonstone, how are you? Sunfish, Rory's back. Maybe he missed us at the start when we said hello, but you're back. Bob Kayla, Lefty, Benny's Aquatics, Young Fish Aquatics, Blake's Aquatics, Monica Lynn, and Rumball. I think I just caught up with everyone. Oh, Mr. Fish Sir. Thank you very much for joining us. We're just going down the path of Fish Room Fever's journey in fish keeping and with YouTube. So you like the sound of your own voice. You are passionate about keeping, more people in the hobby. What are some of the first videos? What are some of the angles that you sort of approached when you decided to put out your first content?
So I decided I was going to start with a fish room tour for the first video. I had been studying YouTube and still continue to study YouTube on a regular basis, because if you can't make YouTube work for you, then you're probably not going to work out on YouTube, unless you just get lucky, which happens. But I looked and I saw, well, people like the fish room tours. They like seeing lots and lots of fish. So I went ahead. I thought that was a good introduction to myself. It's kind of, hey, this is me. This is, what I have going on, so that you can see that I'm not just sitting in a house with no fish trying to talk to you about fish. Not that you couldn't do that, but it's not nearly as interesting. And then I went into trying to do some helpful videos, like different hacks and different tips and tricks and things like that. And those didn't do phenomenally well. So I started trying to go more YouTube friendly, if you will, looking at the algorithm and topics and keyword searches and things like that. And then honestly, the videos kind of took a side seat, which starting in June, that's going to change. I'm going to have more production time. But really the live streams kind of took over. That's kind of where everybody grew to know me from, was the live streams.
That's definitely true for me. And also I've noticed ever since, sort of finding your channel and following you, that you are a committed live streamer. So why do you like live streams more so than videos, I suppose?
Well, one is that you can get, on the spot help. So if somebody's got an issue, they can come in here right now, and depending upon what it is, of course, usually with disease, we like to see pictures, but even in my live streams, I'll tell people, okay, go post a picture and give me a link, or go post a video. I think it was Fishkeeper Cole came in a live stream the other day and was like, I've got this issue going on. I was like, well, we could guess at it, but you have a channel, go post a quick video clip. We'll all go and look at it during the live stream and try and diagnose it. And sure enough, we did, and it was ick. So that's one of the great things about live streams that I really enjoy, is being able to help people on the spot. But really just the conversation. I mean, I love talking to people. So it's really fun to have that instant interaction. Of course, I enjoy going back to comments on videos that have been posted, but that, instantaneous interaction with the viewers is what really gets me. Is what I really enjoy.
I know I'm the same in that. I suppose it's not so much for help all the time, but it's like a mental health because
absolutely
no one I know wants to talk about fish. And it's like, you know what? I'm really passionate about it. I love it. I like trying different things. I'm one of those people that love keeping fish just as much as I love sort of making a video and editing and packaging it all up into a nice little box and then putting it out there for people to see. And to be able to discuss those things gives you lots of ideas and lots of inspiration. And to also know there's a community here, like we just mentioned a whole bunch of people that came in a few minutes ago, and now there's a whole bunch of new people. So Scotty, Pam, Maddie D, just it's forever growing and evolving, and just the support that everyone gives each other. It's the one thing that when I first picked up a camera and went, I'm going to film a fish tank, never, ever anticipated that there'd be anything like this. So I can see, that's why, I only do one live stream every fortnight, but other than this series, but yeah, I don't know, it gives you like a little bit of an adrenaline kick, and you get up and about and you're all happy, and you finish a stream and you're like, that was really cool. I just chatted to people all over the world about what I'm doing with this tank or whatever.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, and this is going to sound like a shameless plug, so I'm just going to call it a shameless plug. But you mentioned not having a lot of people to talk to about fish. I found, and this again goes back to creating the channel, but one instance I was having a conversation with a customer at work about fish. We actually, bacteria is what brought it up. And I mentioned, like beneficial bacteria in fish tanks. He's like, oh yeah, I've got a fish tank. And as I'm talking to him, I've rung him up. He stepped off to the side. The customer after him gets involved in the conversation. And then the customer, 2 customers back, also gets involved in the conversation. Like, oh yeah, I kept fish, in the 70s, and I loved this particular fish. And there's just so many people that are fish keepers or former fish keepers usually that really enjoyed the hobby. And the reason I said it's going to sound like a shameless plug is I said that's why I actually put it on my hoodies and my shirts. On the back it says "Ask me about my fish," because I've had so many awesome conversations. I'll just be standing in line at the store and someone will say, "Hey, tell me about your fish," and we spark up a conversation and go from there.
That's a good idea. It's like we have those over here. How do you like my driving? Zenjin's a new member. I thought you were a member already.
Oh, she upgraded.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Shameless plug. What was I going to say? Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I'm a big fan of the way that you sort of approach the channel, and as you said, there was like a business mindset to a lot of the decisions you make for the channel, and I think it's inspiring as well. It sort of go, I want to do some more and more things and grow the channel, not necessarily numbers wise, but for it to evolve into something that I'm super proud of, and I think you're the same. And
Yes.
it sort of encourages me to go, hey, where you're not alone in this. You're trying to do something, and there's people out there that you can talk to, and people trying to do the same thing. What advice would you give to someone that is just starting out? Whether they haven't even put a video out yet, Monica, or whether they've got 100, 200, 500 subscribers, but they're still thinking about what they really want to do with their channel. What sort of advice would you give to those people?
I think the biggest and most important thing, the best piece of advice I can give is do what you love, and do it because you want to do it, not because you think you're going to get famous or you're going to make lots of money or anything like that. Do it because it's something that you want to do and that you enjoy. If you're doing it as a job, you're probably not going to like it. It's not going to have a positive ROI or a positive return on investment. So just, if you're going to do it for fun. You're probably not going to make a career out of being a YouTuber. It's possible, it happens, but do what you enjoy. The chances are, if you're doing content about things you enjoy in the fish hobby, it's probably something that other people will want to watch. Be the fish, because we're a pretty like-minded group from the wide angle view, in terms of, hey, we all like to look at new fish and pretty fish and nice plants and go, that's interesting. Even though we have our I don't want to say disputes, but we have our differences of opinion when we get down to the micro a little bit.
I think that's good advice. It's the same thing. I think if you do try and do something with, even if you're not filming a fish tank or whatever, but it's a good way to sort of relax, a bit of downtime. It's a good, what do you call it? Gone blank now. Intensive rest, I think, is the right. It's not the right term, but it's very close to that. That you're thinking, you're stimulating your brain while doing something that you enjoy. I think it's really important. So it's partly a great mental health aspect. But then that's why I think people get one tank and then, I'm just going to get another one. I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not heard any of them, a lot of the YouTubers that we sort of see a lot on streams or watch a lot of their videos really ever whinge about, I've got 45 tanks and I have to do water changes. Usually it's like water changes all of a sudden to a new hobbyist might be that annoying thing going, I've got to go do water changes. But I just chuck on LRB, who's on after us, and just listen to him answer questions and just do water changes and then fold laundry. And I'm like, where'd that 2 hours go? Everything's done. Yes, I think it's pretty important too.
Yeah, I agree. It's not, when you're passionate about it, it's not something that you dread. It's not like, oh God, I have to do these water changes, which, breaking news, I told the Zen Ginger about this. I'm going to have a clickbaity video coming out, why you shouldn't be doing water changes. So be on the lookout for that.
Well, here we go.
I won't go into the details, but there's your clickbaity title. And I do want to give one more piece of advice you mentioned in terms of the channels from the business side of my brain. And that is, no matter how many subscribers you have, remember that those numbers are people. That's the biggest thing. A lot of times you'll hear creators go, I only have this many subscribers. I only have 352 subscribers. And it's like, well, that's 352 people that, will show up on a weekly basis, or, have at least at some point said, I like what this guy's doing. Picture 352 people sitting in a room in front of you going, okay, we want to hear what you have to say, or show us your fish tank. So just remember, those numbers are people. It's always great to aspire to go from, 1,300 to 1.3 million, but don't forget that there are people at home attached to that. So
That's why I picture you all naked while I'm sitting here in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. I can take this off if that helps. No, I'm just kidding.
There's 43 people here with only 29 thumbs though, so if you've forgotten. So what are the future plans? Obviously, you just said you've got the why you don't need to do water changes. Is that what it's called? Video.
Yes,
What else?
why you shouldn't be doing water changes, I think, is what I'm going to title it. It's going to be somewhat clickbaity, but there's actual reasons and logic and discussion that goes into that. But I think that's a good title that's going to get new people curious about it, because they're, like you said, they're going to be going, oh, I don't want to do these water changes. Let me watch this video. And you're going to have the people that are knowledgeable and have been in the hobby going, oh, this guy's an idiot. Let me see what he's talking about. So I think it'll draw people from both sides. In terms of plans, I do have. Well, we'll break some news here again on the stream. As of the 6th of June, I will be taking some time off of work. And by taking some time off of work, I told them where they could put my store manager keys. So my schedule will free up immensely. So I've probably got 15 videos laid out in my head that I just need to shoot angles for and get them recorded and edited. I only have 1 day off a week. I've had 1 day off a week for the past 7 years. So if I could have more time to do those things, I could get more of those videos out, as mentioned. So I've got a lot of what I feel like are good concepts for videos. Some more hanging out with Chattanooga Ed. He told me after the stream the other day, he's like, I know it sounds bad, but I'm looking forward to you not working. And I'm like, well, I know we're going to have some fun.
Hang on. Can you do his voice again?
Oh, I can't do it on demand. It just kind of pops out.
That was spot on.
But that's exciting news. Yeah, I think that goes back to wanting to be an actor when I was younger, which may be why I enjoy this so much. This is my stage. This is my show. Yeah. Tonight this is your show, but you get what I'm saying.
Oh no, you're stealing it. It's good. It's about you. It's me asking the questions and trying to share with the people. I know a lot of these people know who you are already, but some don't. And
yeah, I see some new faces in here.
Yeah, and also just to learn, never actually heard James talk about that before or whatever. Because as much as we want to, we all can't be at everyone's streams every week and that sort of stuff. But it's really cool to know that you can, can jump over and spend time with you and Ed. You do 2 streams a week, or is that right?
At this point, yes. So what we did was we switched the nocturnal feeding show over the Thursday show. We moved it to Ed's channel because he's been co-hosting since the 2nd or 3rd episode. He's been on there with me. He came on as a guest and was like, hey, this is a lot of fun. We'll just do this every week.
And never left.
Yeah. So we switched it to his channel because we'd like to get him, to 1,000 subscribers and get his watch time. And Ed will tell you he's not trying to be a YouTuber, so to speak, but if he could get, some free fish food thrown at him or stuff like that, or, acknowledgement at like events, fish meetups and stuff, that type of thing, then hey, why not? So
we tell him to stop wearing his Kansas City hats.
Oh, I'm not going to. I'm not in that one. I am not in that fight. That is between you two. But yeah, so that's why we switched that show over. So I'm down to 2 shows a week to get to the actual answer of your question. But I wanted to address that as well, because people are like, well, whose show is it? And I'm like, well, it's our show, but we want it on his channel to help him out. So I do a Monday Fun Day. I'm calling it Fishy Monday Fun Day for now. That may change, but basically that's going to be more of an out and about series. The past couple of weeks have been from the local fish store. It's kind of one of those keep you on the seat of or on the edge of your seat. You never know where it's going to happen from. It could happen from, I don't know, anybody's place. Maybe it'll happen from Bob's house one day, but it could happen from Sean Peck's house. It could happen from River Life's house. It could happen from LRB's house. You don't know. It could pop up anywhere. Be like, oh, hey, guess what? Here we are. And then I have the Saturday Night Fever, which is we'll have guests on from time to time, but sometimes it's just let's talk to the fishy people and see if we've got any problems we can fix.
That's right. If for all of you that didn't know about the Saturday Night Fever, that is directly before the Aquamate and Friends chat. It's the same sort of thing that we've got going with Dr. Black and myself. And, Thirsty Rabbit's got some technical things going on as far as changing microphones and that sort of stuff at the moment. But we sort of, started doing some streams and did them together and just went, hey, this works. And it's good fun to carry through. And, now, so everyone knows here, we clashed for the first 3 or 4 episodes, and part of that, me and James had a chat and went, all right, what's going on here? Because anyone can stream at any time, and that's fine. But also, to work with each other, it's a lot easier. And what was happening is we were jumping on, and you would either just started or you would, only halfway through. And part of it was because America and Australia have different daylight savings times, and instead of us both going forward or both of us going back, I think Australia goes forward and you guys go back, and all of a sudden there's this whole big 2-hour gap, and we went, this isn't working. And we only do every second week as well, so it was like, what the hell is Aquamate doing? And I was like, what are Fish Room Fever doing?
Yeah, it was interesting. Like you said, it was definitely the whole time zone thing. And I think, some people expect, okay, well, the time has gone back an hour or forward an hour, so we're going to shift ours back or forth to compensate, so to speak. So it's the same timing of day, even though it's not the same time. And it's just like, well, just roll with the punches. If it's at 7, it's going to be at 7, even if it's technically a different time because the time zones change. So there's that
was actually Dr. Black said that. He's like, all right, so now daylight savings is gone. Are we going to go forward an hour? And I was like, why would we do that? It's 11 a.m. Sunday morning every second week. Why would we change it? But as you just said, it's like, look, some people will go, well, let's change it so it's still the same time for everyone else around the world.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I find over here in America, we try and take the easy way. So it's like, well, it's always been at 7 p.m. I don't care whether that's daylight savings time 7 or standard time 7. We're just going to go at 7. That's when we have it scheduled. So it's going to be 7 regardless of the shifting, or 8 or 9 or whatever. So when you've got 5, 6, 10 other people that are on that same concept, that are on the streaming schedule, if you will, you just kind of stick with that. And it's easy to do.
Yes. And I think that's one of the things is it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a shame. One of the things that's sort of crappy about being down under is, I think it's Sunday night for you guys. There's I don't know. I think Jesse, I think I saw you in here before, but I think it used to be Jesse, HC Aqua, then JH, and then King and Queen, and then Susie Q, and then Aqua Funk. And I'm like, there's 6 hours of you can jump in and chat to anyone and sort of follow and get little updates from all these cool channels. But for us, I think it was starting at 5 a.m. on a Monday. So we get up and try and do I'll jump in and go, hey guys, I'm naked right now because I just got out of the shower. And I've got to go to work. So it's kind of sucked that we couldn't really hang out and see them all. But it was good. And it was a good way for all the channels to connect and sort of combine their audience into, sharing all these cool channels together. And at the end, I think everyone sort of benefited. They're all decent sized channels as well. So again, another one of those things you just takes me by surprise with the way that the community reacts to fish tubers, I suppose, in general. So with the news that you just broke, that you're going to have a little bit more time, is there any particular fish or particular thank you for that.
You are welcome.
Just now I can't concentrate on what I was going to say. No, I appreciate it. Is there any particular fish or particular tank that you're like, you know what, on day one of my hiatus, I'm going to get stuck into that?
Every tank. No, actually, that's probably going to be the piranha tank. I need to get my 220 gallon moved in the house. That's not going to happen day one. But day one, I will probably go back through the piranha tank, put it, and I'm looking at it right now. I keep looking off to the side, but that's where it's at. I'm watching them because I'm seeing some what would what I know to be breeding habits in red bellies, even though these are not red bellies. They're still Pygocentris and very, very closely related. Um, so that's kind of going to be the day one thing is I want to get some more substrate in there. Hopefully get them in breeding condition. I've got some other things that I'm going to do to the tank to try and trigger that that have worked well with red belly prana and maculatus prana. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get these guys to breed, which would be awesome because nobody else on YouTube has that. So
Yeah.
it's a next to unheard of thing for them to breed in home aquaria. Anytime you get Caribe piranha, they've been wild caught. So
That's cool. There's a whole bunch of like new content and a whole new world of possibilities, I suppose, open up when you can go, I can focus more attention on this and some more time. Salty Reef with the $2.99 super sticker. Thank you very much. You recently at the same, well, you did it and then I realized I could do it, received channel memberships.
yes, sir. Which you are a member of. Thank you very much.
I am, and you're a member of mine. Scratching backs, we are.
Indeed.
Tell us about the memberships. What's the way that you've sort of approached that? What can people expect from a membership with Fish Room Fever?
So what I did when I first got the membership option, as you know, it wasn't applied for or asked for. It just kind of popped in. It's like, hey, you're eligible. I was trying to set up a live stream, upload a thumbnail and all that. And I got the little pop up and it said, hey, set up your channel membership. So I'm like, okay, let me do that. I need to get this thumbnail up. And I was like, well, set this part up. So I'm like, okay. And I'm kind of just following the default recommended settings for it when I set it up initially. But I've actually gone back. I've removed one of the levels because there was nobody on that level, kind of a middle ground.
Yep.
I've got just a standard, what I'm calling standard, because there's so many ways that you can do it. You've got people that only do a $5 level. You've got people that do multiple levels. It's one of those things that to each their own and play with it and see what works for you. But basically, I'm going to be bringing it to a point where anything at the $4.99 a month and up gets you access to the live streams. I'm going to do some members only live streams. Or if we have, for example, someone like maybe Sean Peck on for a Q&A, have it available for everybody to watch and read the chat, but only members be able to talk in the chat. That way we can, address their questions. It's kind of a thank you for what they do. I try and do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, whether it's little short videos or posts, things that I wouldn't normally upload to YouTube, but that people that have signed up for membership seem to enjoy. So like I did one where I was doing a water change on my Tesselata eel tank because I really don't have any YouTube footage on it, so to speak, or a standard video. But the members got to see her and spend a little bit of time with her because I was doing a water change and they thought it would be cool and they seemed to enjoy it. So little things like that, stuff that maybe doesn't have a place necessarily in the mainstream, but is still enjoyable to watch, especially if you're a fan and up for a membership. So
This is one of the reasons that I wanted to have a chat with you, and one of the reasons that I ask some of these questions of James is because you've got good ideas when it comes to these things, and people think about, they have certain opinions about what they want to see out of a channel and what they want to provide on a channel. But I like the way that you approach each aspect of the channel and give everything some thought. It's not just let's just whack that up and we'll whack that up and whatever and just see what sticks. And yeah, I think that it's, for example, I know exactly what's going on with the PecTech tank, and I've seen it and I'm like, oh, I'm excited. It's actually made me go, I want to make sure that I'm going to catch that video. And I think, just that little exclusive, it's sort of, if you're a member, I suppose, of your favorite channels, you're going to get that.
Yeah, because we didn't even, the way that, and it's funny because I didn't realize that video was going to be on Sean's channel, PecTech. When I initially talked to him, I was just hoping to get him on my channel. I wouldn't have gone to trying to impose myself in front of his fans. But I
Yeah.
showed up, he's all set up, and he's like, all right, this is how we're going to film this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. But the way we did it was we stopped after the aquascaping on his channel. We didn't even do the fill up on his channel. And he said, I'll send everybody over to your channel for part 2 to see the tank. So knowing that, I said, well, I want to get this put up for my members so they can at least see the tank, even though I'm releasing part 2 the next day. So yeah, even people that watch the Sean Peck video won't actually get to see what the members have already seen at this point. So
it's pretty cool and exciting. It's funny, you had that, was that last weekend? You went through all that with him?
That was last Monday, because I did my Fishy Monday Fun Day stream gathering plants and substrate for that, which huge thank you to my LFS. They actually donated all of that stuff for that video. So that was very awesome of them. I don't know if you want to call it sponsored or whatever terminology you want to use, but they're like, whatever you need, take it. You know, you always say a good word about us, so just do it again and we'll be happy. So
that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, you get a bit of support from the local industry, because I think that's something that YouTubers can offer the locals, like the local fish stores, that you could create something for them that they can then use as online marketing, you know, social
Absolutely.
media, their websites, even their Instagrams. You can do photos, you can do interviews, you can do chats, you can do features. And I think a couple of the companies down under are starting to recognize that. And it's actually come up with about 2 or 3 different companies for me personally in the last probably month. And I know a few other YouTubers are talking to a few people, but there is a symbiotic relationship that we can have with the industry, and it's really exciting to see that starting to take off down under in particular. While you were talking to Sean, I was talking to Sam, doing a similar sort of thing, and we set up this saltwater tank.
I did not get that notification like you mentioned, so I'm going to have to go watch that afterwards.
Yeah, definitely check it out, because I am a novice to saltwater, so I didn't put a video out there going saltwater tank for beginners. This is how you do it. I went saltwater tank for me. I'm a beginner. That's why Sam's here helping me make sure we don't do anything wrong, and he gives us 5 really good tips for someone beginning in a saltwater tank. For those of you with a really keen eye, there's something moving in there. So we'll be doing an update probably in the next week or so.
Nice.
And I'm probably heading somewhere after this to do something with that tank. But the reason I sort of bring that up as well is, have you ever dabbled in the saltwater world?
I have, yes. My 220-gallon tank at one point was actually a reef tank, and I've had several. I don't know the exact count, but I've had several saltwater tanks set up, because there's a lot more involved with the fish husbandry, as Bob Kaler will tell you, who's in here, and anybody else that's gone deep in the salty side. So there was a lot more of I really want this fish, but it's not compatible with this fish. So let's set up another tank. It's really easy to go down that rabbit hole. So yes, I've had quite a few. I don't really plan on getting back into corals. I do have one saltwater tank now, which has got a 3.5-foot tessellata eel in it. But I almost want to do one small tank with corals. I do miss my corals. I was actually part of the local reef club when I was in the hobby before, and I really enjoyed it. I just, on a time basis, it's almost like, do I want to invest the time taking care of that one saltwater tank, or do I want to have that time for, the other freshwater? Freshwater is so much easier to do. Again, why are you doing water changes now? I'm just, but so I will probably end up with one reef tank, and that's probably going to be something I do in conjunction with the local fish store. They have a setup that they sell there. It's a package deal. It's literally everything but the fish: the water, the rock, the sand, the tank, the light, the heater. It's literally everything but the fish included in that package. So I think that I'm gonna get with them at some point, and that'll be kind of one of those you scratch my back, I scratch yours, like you said, because they've been so phenomenal in offering to help me so many times, and it's always been, well, I didn't feel like it would be ROI positive on their end for me to accept it, and I really live in that mindset of give, ask, maybe 4 or 5 times give, and then have the little ask.
Yeah.
Or as Gary Vee would say, jab, jab, right hook. So I try not to ask for things. I try to always be, well, here, let me help you. And then eventually I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll accept that. But that will probably be the one tank that I do at some point down the road that is a coral tank. It's kind of like what you've got. It's a cube setup. And I would do that because I would like one coral tank, and because I would like to promote that particular product I'm always pointing out in the store. So
yes. No, that's fair enough. I've always wanted one and always been too scared. So for someone to hold my hand at the start, I'm like, actually, well, it's one of those things. I'll go, I've got this, and then something will go wrong.
right.
Dr. Black, a couple of the guys are talking about a stream that's happening, I think, in like 6 hours. Have you heard about this stream?
I have not. What did I sleep through?
Anthony's Fishy Friends. Is it tonight, our time?
Oh, is that the drinking stream?
It's the have a multiple beverages and do a quiz stream. Yes.
Yes, I did hear about that last night. They were talking about that while I was aquascaping a tank on Ed's channel. So yeah. I heard about that. I won't be partaking in that event. I'll be enjoying from the sidelines, but not drinking.
Does someone want to post a link to that so that if anyone is interested and still awake, or I'm confused what time it's going to be. I'm hoping that it's evening tonight, that after I've done chores and all that sort of stuff, and sit down and go, let's just see what those guys are up to. And I hope to get there like halfway through, so it's a little bit chaotic.
I think it'll be a good time. Zinginger says it's not. Sorry, your show. I'm reading the chat for you.
No, you go.
I just say Zinginger says it's not scheduled yet.
Yeah, I just saw that too. But I do have a $1.50 to 1 that Jesse will fall asleep at some stage during the stream.
I guarantee it.
Yes, okay, there you go. It's 8:30 Jesse's time. So that is actually, 6.5 hours it will be going live. God, what time is that going to be for you?
Oh, 6.5 hours from now? It's 9 p.m. here now. That's an odd time to have a drinking. Well, I mean, I guess it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's not an odd time for a drinking stream. But yeah, if it's 6.5 hours from now, that's going to be 3:30 in the morning.
I think there's. Well, so Zen Ginger will be there then because she doesn't sleep. Hang on. We've got GRB. Put something. So 2 a.m. Friday night is actually 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Therefore, 2 p.m. West Australia time. Tried to get clarification on this original stream. I think he might be trying to figure out what time it is for him on the other side of the not the pond, the other side of Australia. I did have another question that I wanted to go over with you, but I have gone blank. But is there anything you would like to share? We've almost hit the hour mark. Usually we go just a bit over an hour, but anything you'd like to share?
Well, we've got Streetwise is asking me if I'm hosting a Midwest Shrimper in in a future show. I do have Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics on tomorrow's Saturday Night Fever stream, followed by Bob from Steenfod Aquatics on the next Saturday stream.
Ooh, that's a good get. I like Bob.
Yeah, and he's I've had him on before, and I popped into his Thursday daytime live stream the other day, and he was like, "Hey, James," and I'm like, "There must be another James," and he's like, "No, you're the only James," and he's like, "I want to come out and hang on your show again," and I'm like, "Cool, Bob Steenfod wants to come hang out again. Let's do it."
That's awesome.
Yeah, gotta love that. Peck Tech, I'm sure. I'm trying to get Sean to come on again. He's said he'd like to come on again, but we just got to get it scheduled.
Do me a favor, when you talk to Bob, tell him that he should jump down under with us and have a chat, because I wanted to reach out to him, but I also felt like I haven't spoken to him before, so you can be a connection. But I've always wanted to have a chat with Bob. So
there's a piece of fish tuber advice for you: is just go for it.
Did that with
future. Yeah. I was completely dumbfounded when John from KG Tropicals agreed to come on. I think I had like 400 subscribers at the time, or it was really low, you know, in terms of that. He's like, "Yeah, I'll come on." I'm like, "What? Okay." You know,
Yeah.
so
You were there when he jumped on my stream, weren't you?
yeah, because I was like,
asleep.
"Hey, get up, wake up."
For those of you that don't know, I did a 24-hour live stream close to New Year's. And yeah, we went for about 16 hours. And then I went, I've got to have 2 hours sleep. And as soon as I went to sleep, all of a sudden KG Tropicals is like, I'll jump on the stream. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I woke up going, oh my God, what are they doing on my channel? And like, my eyes, I'm still dreaming. What's going on?
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was good fun. It was a good surprise. And I reckon we had maybe 40 people throughout that whole stream come up and have a chat, have a laugh. The last hour was a bit tricky because I think we were all like, just get there, just get to the last hour.
Just be done. Is it time yet?
The man himself, Anthony, is here. Anthony, we've been talking about your stream. Is it really at 3:30 American time? He's in, I think Anthony's in California, so that's a different time zone, is it?
Yeah, that would be probably 11:30 his time, PM.
That would make a little bit more sense then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, you were saying, what was the question that Street was asking? Are you doing a shrimp?
They were asking, yes, if I was going to have a shrimper on. I am having Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics on tomorrow on the Saturday night feature. So
the way he said that, I wasn't sure if it was that you were doing some sort of show, because you just did a show, went to a show. What was the show called again?
Big Fish Deal.
And tell us a little bit about that, because I was watching you set up. I was watching you guys have a chat with those two guys.
Yes.
Which I kept saying, who are these two? And nobody ever answered me. So I cried in the corner. But
so that was a blast for me. That was my first expo event, club, anything like that. Not just as somebody, as a fish tuber, but just in general. I've been to small, not community meetings, goodness. When I was part of the East Tennessee Reef Club, I'd been to small members meetings, that were held at somebody's house. You look at their tanks, that type of stuff. That was my first event in general, and it was just amazing. And I've got to say, although I missed meeting the people that didn't show up, it almost turned out nice that the bigger YouTubers didn't show up. It gave us smaller YouTubers, if you will, newer YouTubers, a chance to shine. There was this one brief moment of, okay, crap, none of the other people are showing up. What do we do? And we all just pulled together, and I grabbed 2 pieces of paper and flipped them over. And I think I had a marker or something. I was like, all right, who's supposed to do what? We all sat there and we filled in the time slots real quick. And it's like, well, I can shift mine up and I can cover this person's demo, and I can do this, and we can bring this event up instead. So that was awesome. That gave us, it's a really cool bonding moment for all the fish tubers. Just like, all right, we're in it together. We're supposed to, be doing stuff. People haven't shown up because of, the issue. So that was fun. Of course, the event itself was fun. I had a blast at the auction. My wallet didn't like me for it, but Miss Fever did. So, I'll get there. But the two gentlemen, that was a funny story. The club had actually rented out, or however you want to call it, like this VIP suite in the hotel. And they had a couple of 100 beers up there. And it was for all the YouTubers and the members of that club. And Ed and I go up there after we had parted ways with all the other YouTubers. And there's one guy up there from the club. And he's like, well, I'm going to go try and find the party and bring him back here. Y'all just hang out here. Don't leave, because, the room's unlocked and we got to keep the beer locked up. So he's like, just don't leave. Just hang out. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. So I think it was like 1:30 in the morning, and Ed and I were just about to leave and just lock the door behind us. And he comes back with the other guy who ended up being on the stream. But I had actually just started the stream to show people the really awesome fish tank looking bathroom and the bidets and the hundreds of beers. And like, hey, these guys really set us up. This is awesome. And they happened to walk in, and it turned into a stream. But it was an amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to going to the aquatic Aquashell. I almost said the aquatic experience. Aquashell at Dallas. I'd love to go to aquatic experience, but it is no more. So
There's a few people saying Lefty's like, I'm sad now. I thought it was cancelled. JH, how are you? He said everybody kicked butt at the Big Fish. I like that. Like, you would think, well, there's not really that many egos that I've come across in all of this, but for everyone to get together and go, all right, let's all work together because we know each other, not shy away from it and go like, oh yeah, but I don't watch their channel, so I'm not going to go talk to them, or come together and actually put on, because I saw you guys were running the auctions. I saw Haley was
everywhere. Haley's awesome. I mean, everybody is, and JH included, but Haley was just like, she needed those wheelies that she wears because she was all over the place.
No, that's awesome. But yes, I'm sad to hear that Lefty would have gone but didn't know. Monica couldn't go because of the issue that you mentioned before. Big Tank Hank, how are you? Welcome. When is Aquashella? Has it been pushed to next year, or is it just late this year now?
So what they've done with the Dallas event is they actually moved it. Normally Dallas would happen before Chicago. So we've got Chicago is going to happen first, and then Dallas is taking place on Halloween this year. So
that's going to make for some very cool. It's going to be a bit like Halloweeny, fishy, Comic-Con.
Yes, going on. Ed is going to dress up. I will be dressing up to appease Ed because he really debated going, even though we purchased tickets, just because Halloween is so big at his house. He didn't want to miss out on it. And I was like, look, if you want to go and you're willing to go, I will dress up.
I want to see that beard under some UV lights.
Well, I was telling Miss Fever, I said, there's my costume idea. I'm going to take all this and I'm going to dye it nice and green. So it's going to be some plants in a tank, and then I'm going to paint my face into an aquarium and just flip that up for your nice. I'm not really going to do that, but that's what I was telling her.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, but no, it's it's going to get interesting. I think. Try to think outside the box.
How far? So sorry, this is Dallas, or Dallas
is
closer to you, isn't it?
Dallas is, I think, like a 12 or 13-hour drive. It's a good ways away. It's not nearby. Big Fish Deal was only about a 7.5-hour drive. 7-hour drive. Just depends. Ed and I live about an hour apart, so depending upon whose beginning point you want to take and which direction you're headed, there's an hour variance. But it's a good drive to get out there. But I think it'll be fun. That in and of itself, I think, will be an adventure because Ed really likes to stop and look at fish stores on the way. So we'll be driving down the road, and he's like, "Hey, I want you Googling fish stores like every 20 minutes. Pulling up the map to see where we can stop and look at stuff." So
I'm all excited. I'm going to a fish store after this. My son came in while we were talking before. I don't know if any of you heard, and he's like, "Dad, you have so many chores to do after this." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, thanks. Go away." I've got chores to do, and I'm going to a fish store that I've never been to, which is about an hour and a bit away.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, here we go. I have a to-do list. Oh, looks like my weekend's going to be pretty heavy.
And I believe earlier I saw Bob mention something about a trip to Atlanta fish stores. I know they've talked about it. Bob, I'd love to go. Just let me know when. So yeah, but that's awesome. It's always nice to go check out new fish stores.
Yeah, and I haven't done like a tour of any fish stores too, and it's actually another YouTuber that's told me about this one. So I might just charge the gimbal up and take it along and see if we can get some content out of it and have a bit of fun. I do enjoy those. Bit of out and about in action, purchases, new fish, new things, and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Love daily action here. Thirsty Rabbit, hello, welcome. Now,
hey.
Give it a couple more minutes because I just switched store. I don't actually, Blake. You want to meet me there? Because apparently it's halfway between us. It's just called the Deer Park Aquarium, apparently.
I'll be there.
Oh no! It's got one of my dream fish. They just messaged me and said we have one of your dream. Wow. Okay. So yes, I'm going to have a pretty exciting day. What I was going to say, sorry, give this a couple more minutes because Zen Ginger, if you're there, are you able to post a link to 3 channels that I would like to just give a little bit of attention to, make sure that we've all know about the channels, and if we like them, definitely subscribe. So Chattanooga Ed will be one of those. Now, you said he's on his pathway to try and get to that 1K eventually.
Yes,
What's he on now?
I think somewhere around 424. He passed the 400 mile mark.
It'd be good if we could start pushing him to that halfway mark. Then,
yeah.
Hey,
Pugamus. Sorry, one of my people followed over, which is again as the community aspect, and that's what I love because I'm seeing new faces in yours that I don't normally see in mine, and then I posted it over on my community tab right before we went live, so I'm seeing some people coming over.
No, thank you, Pugamus Maximus. I love the name, and thank you. I'll definitely check out the channel as well. I'm trying to remember. We had a pug when I was born. One of my favorite dogs. Oh no, yeah, we called him Pugsley, but Maximus for a pug would be a good name too. Chat, Ed is a nice introvert. Well, that's true. I relate to that. All right, so if anyone hasn't heard of Chattanooga Ed, definitely click over and check. The second channel I wanted to have a look at was one of my favorites. I think all of our favorites. But Dr. Black 66, I think he's pushing towards the 600 mark. And I'm going to bring this up again tomorrow as well. And the other one is Thirsty Rabbit, who is getting very close to that 1K as well. And sort of my Australian brothers, I would love to see them continue to keep pushing and get to some of the goals as well. And they deserve it because definitely different channels. So Dr. Black does a lot of live streams. Thirsty Rabbit has one of the most enviable fish streams on the YouTubes. And he's constantly adding stuff. And hopefully we'll be doing a little bit of a collaboration soon, Thirsty. Just need to figure out the safest way to ship something over to him. So, yeah.
I like the way that Thirsty talks. I mean, you all have the accent, but you all have different variations of the accent. Not that yours isn't stunning and striking and charming, but I love Thirsty's accent.
Well, fine, whatever. No. I know. I sound more sophisticated.
Dr. Black, yours is great as well. You know, Thirsty just has that certain little tone in his that I find enjoyable.
But yes, please definitely go and check out those guys if you haven't. Help them get there. We're so close, and it's going to be so much fun to see them hit those numbers as well. But is there anything else you want to share? Because I think I don't have any more questions.
Oh wow, I've survived. All right, good deal. No, I won't do any more shameless plugging. I appreciate you having me on. I think it's been fun, and I think it was good to try and clear up some of that what in the heck happened with the time slot issues and all of that stuff. Because again, it's really about the community. When I first started doing the YouTube, there were some channels, but they weren't really getting a lot of recognition. Some channels under 1K. Bob Kaler, he's been in this fight for a long time, and he just kind of got stuck there for a little while. And then I came in, and people were like, well, if this idiot can do it, I can do it. And he's sitting here with 82 subscribers talking about he's getting monetized this year. And that was not me being arrogant. That was me setting my business mind and knowing that I've never not achieved something that I've been able to plan for from a business or strategy standpoint.
If you really put your mind to it, you can.
Yeah. Running one of the top 0.02% stores in a Fortune 500 company from the bottom, one of those type of things. So sometimes I come across as cocky or arrogant, and really it's just confidence and knowing, believing in yourself. But we had a lot of people that have joined on now. We've got so many fish tubers, and I love it because people aren't afraid to try and join in the community now. It seemed like you were either a bigger established channel or you were just kind of off on the sidelines, and that was horrible. So
no, it's definitely not like that before. And it's some of the larger channels that are talking to lots of the people that are still growing, and still there's that sideline is almost this thick now. Like it's very easy to cross over and chat, and people give each other a lot of time. Well, I was just gonna wrap it up. If you've got something to say.
I was just going to say it really strengthens not just the fish tube community, but the aquatic community as a whole. If we can get those people online to see what we've got going and growing here.
Yes, and from all over the world. It's crazy. Tomorrow morning, our time for all the Aussies, James will be going live at 9:30, which is 6:30 your time, I think. Is that right?
7:30 p.m. my time for Saturday Night Fever.
And following you guys, some other knuckleheads from down under on this very channel. We'll have Blake, hopefully Thirsty, and Dr. Black for sure.
Very nice.
In saying all that, it's been awesome spending my Saturday morning with you, and I appreciate you coming on. Another awesome episode of the Aqua Mate Experience, getting to know, at this stage, a fellow YouTuber, but could be a industry pioneer before we know it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We will see you guys in about, some of you in about 5 hours. There you go. The Zen Ginger has just put the link for your stream tomorrow. Anthony Fishy Friends is having a bit of an after party, 5 hours after party. So might see some of you there. We'll see some of you in the morning. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And I don't really have a catchphrase to say at the end of a stream, so I'll just